All right, guys, everybody's been asking me about how the scrimmage went, and so I'll sort of put that together one more time. You know, it's a short scrimmage. I think we only went about 70 plays, and we did not tackle in the scrimmage. So, to be honest with you, I don't even know if you can call that technically a scrimmage. But nevertheless, you know, we feel like right now our starting 22, with the exception of a position or two, are right where we want it to be. And we've had so many injuries with our second and third team guys. Just couldn't afford to go out there and bang around for a 120 play scrimmage this late in the game and risk losing one player. One loss could have been critical for the remainder of the season. Didn't get to tackle as much as we would have liked during camp because of the injuries, although I felt like early in camp we did practice very tough, very physical. I'm a little concerned about our tackling, just for the fact that doing it in live situations, we've only had a limited number of those. But the thing we wanted to accomplish after we had the injuries is to get through our camp without any more, and was able to do that. And luckily our key guys remain intact, guys that have been our playmakers in the past and guys that we think are going to be playmakers this fall. So that is a big plus as we move forward. But I thought the execution was there the other night. Kids were in the right position. You just didn't get to see that intensity of a tackle scrimmage. So it was a little more of a dress rehearsal of getting lined up, taking your gap, executing, playing fast with tempo, and making sure we had a lot of things covered situationally. But now we move forward. Today, first day of class, is always a big day. We don't practice today. The kids are in class. A lot of kids are changing schedules, getting books. It's always a big day, so we never practice on the first day of school. We'll revene back tomorrow, and then have our Kentucky scouting report as we now change gears. And then we get into a little more of game preparation mode on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So hopefully a little bit of time off with our players. They'll come back ready to go. I think they will. They've had such a great attitude this whole camp, and couldn't be more proud of their effort. So that opened up any questions.
What are the positions that you're still working on?
Well, quarterback is one, defensive back is one, and a little bit of maybe on D-line of who's going to get the most reps, who's going to be the next ones in the game. We've got about 9 guys that we really feel like can play there at the D-line position across the front. It's just the fact that, you know, who we think is going to be the most effective early, who's shown the most consistency of taking their gap, doing their job, and we think can perform at a high level like we're going to see when we play Kentucky, playing SEC caliber players.
Who's
Coach,
doing?
what's the process been with Eli this fall? It seems like you guys are taking it as easy as you possibly can on him.
Yeah, for one, you know, Eli doesn't have to prove to us, you know, that he can play. You know, and he don't have to prove to us that he can break a tackle and can avoid being tackled. So, you know, for us, you know, when you have a playmaker like Eli, he can be a difference maker for you. For us, it was getting to that game. He did get some live work during the camp and saw some live action, but not as much as everyone else. But hopefully his conditioning is going to be strong, because when he wasn't getting the live work, he was with the conditioning, strength and conditioning staff, getting some game-like simulation for his conditioning. And I think right now he's going to be as fast as he's ever been. I think he'll be more durable because of his weight he's added, and hopefully he's going to do some big things.
Is that, especially with him having missed the spring, is that kind of a balance you guys have to strike to make sure that when, you know, the live bullets start coming at him, that he's able to hold up against that stuff?
Well, we hope so. We hope he can hold up. And, you know, that first game is going to be the first game for everybody on the field, both teams, regardless if you scrimmage or not. When you kick it off, it's different. The speed of the game changes. So it'll be different for everybody, and which team can react and adjust to the speed of the game the quickest. Hoping we can react and adjust quickly, you know, with the limited amount of live scrimmage time that we've done. That's a little bit of concern. Hopefully we can do that on the run and get better and get used to it quickly.
Who's in the mix for the other cornerback spot?
The other quarterbacks, well, is same two, Jalen Nixon.
Corner.
Oh, corner.
Corner.
At corner, well, right now we've got about 5 guys between Christian Gullett, Troy McCullum, Jarrell Brazil, Javante Watson, and coming up with the last one, Savion Brown. And right now, that's the, if I had to pick my 2, it might not be the same as the defense staff's 2. And so we're trying to just make sure when we put those on the field that we know who those 2 are going to be. But the great thing about it is we've got 5 guys that we feel like are going to be outstanding corners. I think we've got a lot of depth at corner. I think that's one huge plus. And in years past, we've had maybe 2 corners, and we made it through the whole year with those 2 guys, knowing that the next guy in may have been a drop-off. I really like our corners. We're tall, we're long, they run well, they cover well, and they're really picking up our scheme nicely.
Place kicking set?
Not entirely. I would say Stevie's got a little bit of an edge because of the way he's performed in the scrimmages. Two live scrimmages, two kicks, one of 50 and one of 54. And in game situations, I think has given him a little bit of an edge at this point. Although Carlos has been mighty consistent, and Dylan Shurich, who came out of the spring, really is one of the #1 kickers, is now back. He'll be back tomorrow. We didn't bring him at 105 because of the little pull he had with his hip flexor, but now he's 100% healed. I'm sure he's going to probably have a live leg because he hadn't been out in camp for 2 weeks. And so we'll see how that goes, but I really like our kickers. We'll see how they work out.
You said our T went from 50 and 54 yards.
50 and 54 the other day.
And
54-yarder.
Last year you didn't have a kicker make a 40-yarder until the New Orleans Bowl.
That's right. So I think he's got a very strong leg. Both those guys are kicking off deep in the end zone, and to me, hopefully that can continue to be a weapon for us.
Coach, in the media day, you talked about you wanted to kind of be fresher for the opener and not. So have y'all done even less than you imagined back then?
Probably so. I'm always the guy that the coaches have to hold back a little bit. Say, Coach, you sure you want to hit again today? Or you sure you want to go this long again today? I love to practice. I love to hit, tackle, and work. But we've had to be smart with some guys because of the wide receiver depth. And when you have limited depth at receiver, limited depth at offensive line, like we've had at certain points of camp, that limits what the rest of the team can do together. Because you can't scrimmage if you don't have a 2 offensive line put out there. And at times during camp, we've really struggled putting a quality Division I offensive line out there with the 2s that you can, feel like you're giving both sides of the ball opportunities to be successful.
Does the practice tempo change a little bit? After banging on each other for 3 weeks, hey, you're finally looking at Kentucky on tape, some excitement out there, more so than usual?
I think so. I think our guys are, and you hear coaches say it every year, sort of cliche, and ready to hit somebody else, but that's the truth. We've had quite a few, probably little skirmishes break out at practice. We got some competitive guys. We got some fight in this football team. And they're anxious to play somebody else. Like I told them today, let's wait and take it out on the opponent and save a little bit of that energy that we're using up on each other a little bit. So I love our attitude of being tough. We just got to be smart, got to take care of one another, and if we can play with some of the fire that we've had in a couple of our practices, I think our kids are going to play awfully hard.
Is the communication on the defensive side of the ball where you want it to be yet?
It was better. It was better this past week. I thought the first week not very good. And that's one thing that we have done and we've gotten really good at in the last 2 weeks. Man, we've piped in a lot of crowd noise. I know Kentucky's fight song word for word. I've heard it so many times. So the communication part of it will not be an issue. We're offensively or defensively. I think we've hit that on the head with as much preparations we've done with substitutions, calls, checks, communication throughout the offensive defensive side with crowd noise and music playing. So hopefully we prepared enough for a great environment up there in Lexington.
Coach, you mentioned 9 guys on the defensive line. Do you have to kind of strike a balance there? You want to have depth, but also do you have to kind of get those core guys that can kind of plug a run lane and also get a push and play the run and the pass? Do you have to kind of balance having depth and also having those core guys that can be versatile?
Yeah, for us, we want some quality depth, but, as far as having core guys, like we talked about, I don't know if we'll have a core Christian Ringo or Justin Hamilton this year. Those guys played 65% of the game last year, and everybody else made up the other 35%. This year, I don't know if we'll have those guys that end up playing quite that much. We may. And sometimes it shakes down, and some guys sort of rise up and end up getting better as the year goes along. But I see us playing a lot of kids. That's one luxury we do have. We're going to be able to keep fresh D linemen on the field. We've got guys that can run. We've got some athletic D linemen. We look like a Division I outfit at the D line position.
Where does Stevens fit into all that defensive line?
Roger Stevens, right now he doesn't. He's still just now fixing to start practicing full speed. He's a guy that I told our staff, hope we can have him ready for mid-season when, the normal bangs and bruises start taking its toll on you. We're hoping he's going to be ready to be an extra bird that we can slide in at that point when we need him.
How do you make up for the sacks from a Christian Ringo? You try to do something special, disguise things,
Well, that's
more blitzing?
the thing. He got those last year a lot, on his own. So we didn't even do a lot with him. He was just beating his man one-on-one. And I don't know if we'll have that luxury this year with that one guy, although Darzell Washington is a guy that can rush the quarterback. Romaine Douglas is another guy. Those two guys right there, to me, are two outstanding pass rushers. They can get pressure on the quarterback. We'll have to be creative in doing that. And hopefully, though, we'll find somebody that may surprise us. That always sort of tends to happen. Hopefully, it will again.
So you said earlier in fall practice you wanted Jamal to get more consistent. Are you seeing that now?
He has. He's gotten much better. He started off very slow, and I could tell he was, a little uncertain about his health and was just wanting to maybe ease his way back into it. We've seen steady progress, and I'm hoping in these next 2 weeks he's going to be to the point where he's going to be fully confident. And if he's the Jamal that we know, and he gets to that point, I have no doubt that he's going to be able to hold his own and he'll be able to play back for us.
Jim Rome doesn't put a lot of mid-major schools on the air. What's it mean for a program like this to be on a national radio show?
That to me is a great sort of great publicity for our program. And like you mentioned, you don't just put anybody on the air. And I've always listened to Jim and watched his show when it was televised. And for us to get that type of national exposure was big for our program. And he did us right. He teed us up a couple times and gave me an opportunity to sell our program, which was a huge plus, and I'm greatly appreciated him doing that. And so, but hopefully it's just another sign that people are becoming familiar with the Ragin Cajun brand. And the number of times, though, that we've played on national TV in the last 3 years, especially with all the Tuesday and Thursday night games, the bowl games, all the televised games, that exposure has really paid off. We wouldn't be where we're at exposure-wise if we hadn't played all those nationally televised games. I wouldn't think so.
Coach, you mentioned it's great to have depth at cornerback, but is that a position that you really want guys going in and out, or do you really hope that y'all can settle on two for the long haul?
Well, you always want, to me, that one guy, that one guy that's going to build continuity with the team, that's going to grow in the offense, it's going to let the offense evolve around him. That's what you prefer. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes some guys perform better in games. We'll sort of see what happens. Just because one guy gets named the starter and he runs out on the field doesn't necessarily mean he may take every snap. But nevertheless, that would be the preference. We have one guy that is the guy, and the next guy is the next guy in line if something happens.
What about a cornerback? What about a cornerback? The two? Do you want them? You said you had 5 or 6 guys at cornerback, cornerback.
Yeah.
But I mean, is that? Do you want to try to have two that are, or 2 or 3 that are the main ones? Or are you okay with going in and out?
Well, I mean, best case scenario, you like to have 2 All-Americans, that are 3-year starters that are all academics, All-Americans too on each side. That would be always the best scenario. But sometimes corners, to me, can get hot and cold throughout the year. we'll just end up playing the guy that's got the hot hand at the time. But we feel like all 5 of those guys are plenty good enough to be effective players. Some have more experience than others, and experience plays a big part of it. But we all got our first jobs at some point, and some of these guys are going to get their first jobs in front of 60,000. And so that's going to be interesting to see, and it'll be mighty exciting.
Coach, probably the biggest challenge for you guys is going to be obviously on the offensive side of the ball, where Coach Duke brought in coach from Coach Denhoff's program, and how much of that personnel is going to fit to what he did maybe there and what they did last year.
You know, it'd be interesting to see. I don't know if there'll be a total wholesale. You know, I'm sure they're still going to have a little bit of the head coach's footprint, maybe on the offensive side of the ball also. You know, just his from things that they've done in the past. It's been successful, and they still got the entire rest of the offensive staff there, led by the new offensive coordinator. So, you know, I don't definitely think it's going to be a wholesale change. It'd be interesting to see how much they run the quarterback now as compared to what they did last year. But only time will tell. I know they've got a heck of a quarterback. He's a big kid.
Right. Since they named him as starter, and that's set now.
I think he is as good a quarterback as there is in their conference, and one that we're going to see. I think he's got 13, 12 games under his belt, and he's got experience, and he seems to be very confident. And I like that in a quarterback.
How does he compare to maybe a similar quarterback that's played against Florida? Driscoll's at Florida, big guy who can run a little bit. Not so much in the passing game, but what he can do with his size and his legs.
Well, he probably is a little bit similar to him because they're both big kids. They have big arms. Can throw it around. Driscoll, we're going to see him also, so he can spin it. And Tolles he can spin it too, and so it's going to be a challenge. And he's got some weapons. He's got a great running back behind him.
Got 3 receivers back.
3 receivers back. I mean, it's just choose your poison with those guys. And so it's going to take a great effort by our guys going up in a hostile environment, and a lot of new, inexperienced players on our team. But all the pressure is on them. There's no pressure on us. So we're going to go out. We're going to play. We're going to let it all hang out, get our ears back, and go play hard, and see where the chips fall.
You mentioned earlier QB, DB, and D-line are the only places you haven't solidified. So does that mean you have a set rotation at linebacker, or do you still plan on playing a couple guys deep there?
No, we'll definitely, early in the year, with the heat and, just early in the year, we'll definitely play probably 5 linebackers throughout the course of the game. Right now, Lightfoot and both of Peters, probably will start, at Sam and Mike and Tovell at the wheel, so, but we'll rotate some guys.
Coach, you mentioned specifically, you mentioned Romaine Douglas and also Darzell as far as their pass rushing ability. Obviously, Darzell kind of went through that process of losing weight and getting in better shape. And with Romaine, is there anything particular with him maybe getting off the ball at the snap? Anything particular that he has improved on or gotten better?
He's always had a great get off. He's
Okay.
probably gotten better at using his hands and a little hand-to-hand combat and some things we've done with those guys this summer. He's got a good motor, but I tell you, he's quick and he's got a nose for the ball. And, I'm hoping that he can get guys to get pressure on the ball.
More excited about the move into the APC or the opening week?
Well, no, opening week, and that's what I'm told, the strength coaches, they're all like, boy, that's, every day they're talking about the ABC and the new weight room, and I'm like, man, that new weight room ain't done nothing but been a distraction all summer long. It's all we talk of, all you hear. I'm having to meet with contractors, and they're changing this, and I've got to go meet, check out, see if this is acceptable. And it's really been just a huge distraction, even though it's a good distraction. It's something that has to be done. I'll just be ready when we get in and we can move forward, and we don't have that cloud overhead knowing, hey, we're going to have to hurry up and move in during the open date. And we've got all these other things that they're trying to get finished for us to be able to move in. It has been a huge distraction. I wish we could have had it. The best case scenario would have been moving in the spring, but obviously things happen and we couldn't do that. But I know this, we're extremely excited to be able to move into it. I'll just be glad when we are in it and we don't have to worry about, worrying about both places right now. I said, guys, worry about, keep the main thing, and let's get ready for Kentucky.
Everybody good?
Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.